Well, at least they're in Egypt. Greetings and welcome once again to Roman of the Empire. I am your host, Roman. This week we're going to be talking about Moon Knight, Episode 3, The Friendly Type. I'm not going to go over the cast and all that stuff because if you've seen the videos before, you know who everybody is. And if you haven't seen the videos before, you need to watch them from the beginning so you know what we're talking about. So this was a better episode. They have been improving from episode to episode. That's good. We got to see a lot of Moon Knight himself, and I like the look of this character, as I've said before. And there was a lot of action and a lot of interesting ideas. Visually, episode looked good. The cinematography is good. The shots were nice. And while we pretty much know where the direction of the show, where it's going at this point, it doesn't really feel like it's going anywhere. We know it is, but the feel of it is just kind of off. We know the stakes. If Ammit comes back, billions of people are going to die. That's a big deal, but it doesn't feel that way. It's just the vibe of the show. Because even with more action and all the big stakes, it feels ho-hum. I wish it didn't. It's not very engaging, and there's like zero chemistry between any of the actors. And I know some of you are enjoying the show, and I'm glad for you. But this is my opinion on what I feel is another missed opportunity for DisneyPlus Marvel. So here we're going to go into plot summary. This is where all the spoilers are, so if you don't want that, bug out. Marc Spector's in charge of the body. We saw that at the end of the last episode. We're now in Egypt, where he needs to chase down the scarab that Harrow has before Harrow can find the tomb of Ammit. And we see Layla in a kind of a useless scene where she's getting a forged Egyptian passport. And she could have shown up in Egypt and it would have been just fine. And you really wouldn't have thought twice about it, honestly. Mark's tracking down 3 of Harrow's followers, trying to figure out where he is. And it's a good chase scene. This was actually really well done. It's a good chase scene. There's a really nice knife fight. We get to see really how capable Mark is. Now, Stephen Grant, that personality, pops in and basically mucks the whole thing up. And when Mark ultimately takes control of the body again, 2 of the guys he was chasing are dead. He's holding a blood-covered knife. Stephen says he didn't do it. Now Mark's confused. Stephen's confused. I'm confused. And the 3rd guy essentially kills himself. So what we get out of this series of scenes is nothing. Kind of cool action, really again, just a waste of screen time. It's unfortunate, but like I said, it didn't take you anywhere. You got nothing out of it ultimately. We see Harrow and his followers out in the desert using the scarab to track down the tomb, and it points down, and boom, they found it. So they know where they need to start digging. And Mark asks Khonshu about the other Egyptian gods. Why are they not helping out? They know how dangerous Ammit is. And the Egyptian gods are basically checked out. They don't interfere in humanity's doings. We've seen this theme in Marvel and some other things. And they're kind of pissed at Khonshu for his interactions. And they've threatened to imprison him in stone if he goes too far. But seeing the desperation of the situation, Khonshu brings the moon into the daytime. So the sky goes dark, the moon appears, old Bible, scary kind of stuff. And to get the gods' attention. And he does. The gods show up through their avatars, and this is basically, it's like a trial in the big pyramid, in a setting that I guess only the gods can see. Khonshu pleads his case through Marc about what Harrow is trying to do, and it's reasonable. But the gods are still, they don't have good interaction with Khonshu because they're mad at him, so they're already looking at him through a skeptical eye. So they bring in Harrow, who basically discredits Khonshu because his avatar, Marc, is insane. And Marc is crazy. We know this. He has the split personality disorder. And so the gods are like, okay, he's not shown his case. You're free to go. Everything's fine. One of the gods who Khonshu had a good relationship after all the gods have bugged out here. So now it's just avatars interacting with avatars. Her avatar tells Marc that there's a sarcophagus that has the coordinates of Ammit's tomb. That's useful. But my problem is really the whole scene. It could have been more interesting in a lot of different ways. We could have seen the gods as well as their avatars instead of just their avatars. And that to me was a bit of a, I guess it would have been some more CGI stuff, but do it well. And it could have looked cool seeing all the different gods together. Also, the gods are super gullible. Harrow basically spins a lie for them and gets them off track with the whole Marc Spector's insane thing. And they just buy it. Like, it's no big deal. They couldn't use their godlike powers to see what Harrow was doing in the desert. They couldn't. He came to them. They brought him there. He didn't just pop. It's not like he got on a horse and said, "Oh, I got to go see the gods." They brought him to the place. And is this just how flawed the Egyptian gods are? It seems like a pretty big weakness. And I just thought the scene wasn't very good because of all that. Again, there were some good ideas in play here, but I thought the execution was just not good. So Marc starts poking around for the sarcophagus ineptly, as making his way through the streets of, I assume, is Cairo. Layla shows up. Hey, she says she knows a guy as well. Okay, so because she's into kind of the dark side of the antiquities business. She either gets stolen items back for people, or she just gets stolen items back. Basically, like I said, the dark side of the antiquities business. So they get on a boat. They're heading to where the guy is. They have a not very interesting talk about their marriage and their past life together. They get to the complex. The guy's riding around on the horse training with spears. Okay. And he reluctantly lets them see the sarcophagus. He's kind of keen on Layla, which is the only reason they get in the first place. So they can see that in the sarcophagus, the coordinates are there, but they're coded. Okay. Stephen comes in through reflection and helps them. He tells them to fold some of the burial cloths that he sees stars on, and he has the insight to do this. Constellations appear to be the key to cracking the code as to the coordinates where Ammit is. Well, the dude sees them touching the sarcophagus and such. He freaks out. Hilarity ensues. Harrow shows up and destroys the sarcophagus. MoonKnight and everybody battle it out. There's a lot of chaos. A bunch of people die. Harrow leaves. That's pretty much the way the scene plays out. And now they're left with the bits of the burial cloth, which somehow miraculously didn't get destroyed when the sarcophagus blew up. Why? Don't know. They must be magic. Or they needed it for a continuing forward plot device. So Stephen puts together the little bits of the cloth. he's got his decoder key for the constellation. The problem is now she's got some kind of program she's running on a computer to figure out where the constellation is that they can bring it all together. But the stars have moved in the thousands of years since Ammit's imprisonment. I'm not an astrologer. So Khonshu uses his power to change the night sky back thousands of years to what it looked like on that night. And of course, everybody sees this. This isn't just Khonshu and them seeing it. The entire world sees the sky spinning around. And so they get the code, they figure it out, they have the coordinates. But all while this is going on, the gods are aware of this as well, and they get pissed, and as they threaten to do, they imprison Khonshu in stone. So they have the coordinates, but Khonshu is gone, and now Marc doesn't have the powers of Moon Knight. He's just a dude. So now they have to figure out how to get in there without their super-powered friend. It's just folks against a guy who has some of the powers of a god working with him. So that's where we end up. So there were some good ideas, like I said. But again, the execution of this isn't particularly good. You have your script, but your outline of your script, and you want to do these things, but the way they did these things, I just don't think it works very well. There's a lot of movement, but the story itself, again, could have been short. They have a lot of filler and not tons of substance. And I wish the writing were better because I wanted this to be a good show. And again, I know some of you are enjoying it, and I'm happy for you. But opinion, it's just not that good. So if you're interested in Moon Knight, I do suggest you read this book, which you can't see great because of the reflection, but it's the 2011 collected edition from Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev. So it's a good story. Marc has set up shop in LA. There's a secret West Coast kingpin setting up with an Ultron fetish. And you get Avengers. You get a lot of good stuff in this story, and you get a lot of insight into the way Marc's head works. Again, it's 2011, so there have been different versions of Moon Knight, and we talked about this in the past. But this book is really cool. There's a lot of good humor in it, as well as a compelling story, which, above all things, more than art, more than anything else, the story is important. Doctor Who had terrible effects when it first came out, but the stories were compelling. That's what I'm talking about. This show has great effects. Well, some good effects. Some not so good CGI stuff, but overall the show looks pretty good, but the story itself is not compelling. That's my take on it. Anyway, that is all for now. This has been Roman of the Empire, signing off. Be kind.